Hey, this is Dean from Queens of the Stone Age, and you're watching Lunch Bar.
The band has been around for quite a while, and you've been in the band for 20 years. How do you find, or what's your process of keeping yourself engaged and driven to make and perform music?
The one thing that's kept us together for so long is that we're kind of all individually motivated. Even when we're not together, we're looking for creative ways to bring something back to Queens when we are going to make records. So, we all go do other projects or, whether it's writing at home just for fun or whatever it is. There's like a feeling like there's more to do. I think all of us feel like there's more to do. And we're
Yeah,
not bored. We're just not bored.
that's crazy. After all that time to not be bored of music.
Or each other, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and just off that, what is the creative process like for you guys, Because I know some bands like to work together like holistically and others kind of let everyone do their own parts. What is that process like for you guys?
It's a little bit of both, honestly. Josh always has the door open for us, to be as creative and run with any idea as we want to. He usually initiates. Most of the time, he's initiating an idea, bringing something in. And the one thing after 20 years, everybody's kind of got their own way of working. So some of it is all of us in a room playing. Sometimes it's one person being, holed up in another room working on tons of ideas on their own, even occasionally remotely. I've both John and I don't live in LA, so sometimes that's just the way it goes, right? Like hear an
Yeah.
idea and want to send some inspiration back, and we'll just be working on stuff at home. So it kind of runs all over the place, And the
Yeah.
fact that we're so comfortable with each other, it just makes it like there's so much trust now that whatever anybody is feeling they have to do the best thing, that's going to be what it is.
How do you balance all of the Queen stuff with like all your other bands and projects and stuff as well? Like that must take quite a heavy toll on your personal life and with like all the bands.
Honestly, it's been not as difficult as you would think. Because at least speaking for myself, right? Like the people that I work with are also incredibly busy. We found ourselves in off cycles a few times where we're like, nobody's working, nobody's doing anything. So it's just obvious that this is the time to see if we can get something done or not. It's not like a whole lot of planning involved. It's really like, oh my God, we're home. We're all off the road at the same time. What are you doing tomorrow?
It kind of feels like just a bunch of friends just, making stuff when they have the time and when it all aligns.
Absolutely is in both, or in all, I should say for me, in all the scenarios that I'm in, it's really friendships are almost first, and then lucky enough to be able to, create records that we love with our friends. A lot less pressure on timing. Yeah, we're not booking out calendars years in advance or anything like that. Everybody likes to, work at the speed of their own inspiration. So, it just happens when it happens.
One thing I was super curious about, and I'm sure you've talked about this a few times, but the Catacombs documentary live video series you did, what was it like down there? Two, what was it like to perform down there? And three, what was it like to give these songs like a new lease of life through this documentary and performance?
Well, the opportunity to do this was about 20 years in the making. And fortunate enough through the years, to find some pretty unusual locations to play music for people.
Yeah.
Um, this one didn't have an audience, but it was absolutely a very, very special opportunity that we had. And I will say, for me personally, it was really difficult to register what was going on while we were doing it. The
Mm.
experience was incredible, but I think, as you've probably read, Josh was not well. He was
Yeah.
very ill when we did that. So much so that I think everyone in the band had, secretly hoped that he would have gone home a couple weeks before to get worked on.
Yeah.
But he was so inspired and motivated to do this. And the result is something that, looking back, looking back on it, it's like you would never get that combination of emotion and location if
Yeah,
things had been any different, right? So I didn't really get to experience it in full. I don't think until I watched it, a screening of it. I can't remember a few months after we did it. I had my own memories of
yeah,
it, but it was such a blur. It's like, oh my God, I'm in down here and we're doing this thing and Josh is very ill and like we got to do this perfect for him. And so many things going through our mind that day that I wasn't really able to exhale and enjoy it until I was, you know, months removed and knew everything was okay and
yeah,
realized we captured a really special moment in our career as a Queens.
yeah. I mean, did it just kind of feel like during the performance and while you were filming, like just an out of body experience? Because I would imagine being in a place as historic as the Catacombs and doing something like a performance and recording that all must have just felt so surreal in the time and in the moment.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. The thing we really wanted to do was respect the place that we were in. We
Mm,
weren't doing this just to be like, rock band in the catacombs. It was just, like I said before, that having these opportunities to connect with locations that are surreal and like otherworldly, like that is something we look forward to doing all the time. And we get
yeah,
so few chances to do it. The opportunity to rework the songs and come up with new arrangements and all that was really exciting. We had literally three rehearsals. We were on, the clock was running the whole time because, as I said before, Josh wasn't feeling great.
mm,
So, we were very focused and everything we rehearsed, we couldn't really know for certain that they'd work down there.
yeah,
We hadn't been down there. We didn't know what the setup was going to feel like or look like, and the string players were new, so we didn't have like years of playing with them and that kind of ingrained response to the way each other plays. So it was really focused few
yeah,
hours that we were on there. It was, yeah, it was crazy because there were certain setups where I couldn't even see them, and we relied so much on eye contact for a lot of the rehearsals that was just gone. And so we're
mm.
really just like listening and trusting each other, and you really just had to let go and let it
Just let
be.
it be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of live shows and like performing, you're coming back to New Zealand in December. I was wondering if throughout your times touring throughout New Zealand, you had found any places that you liked in particular or certain aspects about New Zealand.
My experience is, do you know John Baker? Have you ever met this guy, John Baker?
I never met
He
John
was the
Beck.
White Stripes' first tour manager.
Yeah.
He's a New Zealander. He's from Auckland, and he's been very gracious to show us around, invite me out and stuff like that. Most of the time, we are on beaches and things like that, and a couple bars and whatever. But
Mm.
it's really been the for me the people that I've met.
Is there anything in particular? Because you guys are here only 2 years ago. Is there anything different we can expect from the live show this time in terms of the performance or the stage setup without giving too much away?
I can't give anything away because we don't really even know yet. We haven't
Yes.
gotten
Okay.
we haven't gotten to that phase of preparation, but as
Yeah.
always, of course, we never want to do the same thing twice. So we
Yeah.
will definitely be trying to keep it interesting for y'all.
To wrap it up, is there anything you wanted to say to the fans here in New Zealand?
Just the obvious that we were really looking forward to getting back. And it's been a minute since we've been there. And so having this like being one of the first things to do is great. It's been a
Yeah.
while.